Alright, everybody, it's wrap-up time. Let's take a look at what we found in those quarters. First off, we got ourselves a 1995 Philadelphia. And she's got a little bit of a die crack there coming down off of the ponytail of Washington. Right there. Continuing our tradition of Philadelphia die cracks for some reason. Regular old looking circulated coin. Nothing fancy except for that die crack. Okay, so we'll keep that fella. And then we've got a 1995 Philadelphia with another die crack. Really good die crack, actually, going from the top of Washington's bust all the way through the E there. Even in a little bit more circulated condition. But that's okay. It's got an error, so we're going to keep it. Alright. And we have a 1998 Philadelphia. And if you look at this isn't actually the reason why we kept it, but it's an older condition die. So if you look at it, in God We Trust here, it almost looks like it has strike doubling. But pretty sure that that's actually because it's an older die. As dies age and the sharp edges begin to wear down, it allows metal to flow around the edges of the devices, so it starts to kind of look mushy like that. But the reason we kept it is because it is a clashed die, where the two dies came together and struck each other without a blank planchette in between them. You can see that right there. Almost looks like there's an extra leaf above the arrows, but that is actually part of the obverse design. And there's a little bit you can see right here off of the back feathers of the arrows. And then you can see a little bit clashing right down here. And that's all remnants from where the mint operator was not able to completely remove the clash by polishing. So you still see a little bit of that left over. Okay. And we got this guy right here. Same exact idea. Another clash. Let's see a little bit more obvious here. Coming off the top of the wing going towards the beak. And that is on a 1993 Philadelphia. Kind of the same idea there with an older die. You can see the same thing here where the metal was actually allowed to flow in between the edges. So it looks kind of mushy. You can kind of see like there's a little outline there. You can especially see it on the T. But exact same thing. Alright. And then this coin's pretty interesting. This coin, if you look at it, just looks like it's a heavily worn coin. Well, not heavily, but you know, normal circulation wear, I should say. But if you look at the edge, the rim, I should say, you see how thick that is. And then it's similar over here, and it has kind of a flat look to it. It looks like it was a really, really well struck coin. You can see very good definition in the eagle's feathers. Also the tail feathers. Looks overall like it's just a really, really nice strike, right? Well, even from the naked eye, you can't really tell because of the fact that it has been circulating for so long. But that right there is actually an S mint mark. This is actually a proof quarter from 1977. And unless you really look at this thing, you couldn't tell that it's a proof coin. I mean, it's been circulating for a really long time. It's really hard to see any cameo on this. I mean, it's you know, I mean, the mirror fields have basically been circulated down to oblivion, but this is a 1977 proof quarter. And again, I mean, it's been circulating for so long, it looks terrible, but I don't know. Me and Keith kind of agree that it's still a proof, and even though it's really not worth much, it would kind of break our hearts to put it back into circulation because it is a proof coin. I mean, it is, after all, a San Francisco strike, so we'll hold on to it probably forever. Which just goes to show you, you really got to look at some of these things. I mean, you really, really, really can't tell. And then here, I wanted to show you an example of a really, really overused die. This is the same idea. This is a degraded die. This thing has been used well past its prime, and this is a good example of showing you guys the metal flow in between the sharp devices, and it's allowed metal to flow around the edges. So everything looks mushy. You can almost see, like, it almost looks like a reflection of, like, Quarter and Liberty. I mean, this die was way overused. Look at the E and we. I mean, that thing's just awful. But, I mean, naturally, they're going to get as much use out of a die as they possibly can. Look at the E and the... Well, look at I. Actually, look at all of United. Looks kind of like it was struck through a potato. I mean, it's just awful. And then if you look at the reverse is an older die, but it's not so bad. But the reverse is definitely an older die, just like the obverse. You can kind of see it there in the H. And then there's a little bit of die damage or a die crack going between the two rocks there on top of the head of the old man of the mountain. But yeah, just a severely worn die. And like I said, I just kept that to show you guys what a really, really worn die looks like. And then, something a little cool. This thing. This has some really cool toning going on to it. A lot of people call this a rainbow. I mean, it is basically a rainbow. I kind of look at rainbows as being more like the actual target toning from, let's say, the really, really nice collections of the old proof Morgan dollars where you can see all the different colors radiating from the edge and going in. But, I mean, this thing is technically a rainbow. It's got basically every color you could imagine. But it's just a really beautiful coin. And the really cool part about it is, too, is that it is an American Memorial Park. I mean, this thing's just got some really bright colors in it. A 2019 quarter that looks like this. And I mean, there's a countless amount of things that, excuse me, that could cause this coloration to show up on a coin. So your guess is as good as mine as to what did this, whether it was heat or some sort of a chemical, you know, like ether or sulfur or whatever. But It's just a really cool looking coin. Definitely different. All right, so as you guys can see, we didn't exactly hit any home runs with this these customer rolls, but I mean, there's some things that I didn't show you guys. Like we did find some 2009s, some really nice 2009s actually in mint state. Like Samoa and Guam and stuff like that. So we're keeping those, but those aren't as interesting as these. We've also found some that were struck through grease, which they're cool. That's technically an error, but I didn't want to show you guys and put you through that. Y'all know pretty much what a struck through grease coin looks like, and a lot of the specific designs, like Voyagers and things like that, of the newer national park quarters, it seems like we find struck through grease on those all the time. So, not that spectacular, but just wanted to show you guys some of the more interesting finds, including that really heavily worn proof, and kind of show you guys a little bit about what a heavily overused die looks like. But, anyways, guys, love you all. God bless, and we will see you soon. Hope you have a good day. See ya.